Hi there, my name's Lori at Lori R Creations. Welcome to another Dollar Tree DIY video for a mini Christmas tree. So the supplies that you'll be needing to complete this project will be one package of the wired garland ties from Dollar Tree, one roll of burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, and one package of the star ornaments from Dollar Tree. Depending on how many trees you want to make, this project can make up to two with the supplies that you'll be getting. So if you want to make two, you'll need to get two of the floral foam cones that you see on the left-hand side there. And one package of the floral foam rounds. They're flat, and those come two to a package. And then you're going to need some jute if you're going to do the garland at the end, and some narrow ribbon. You'll also need some fabric to cover the foam round. You can use whatever you have on hand, but I used fabric that I bought at Walmart. It was buffalo check. I got one in the red and black and one in the black and white. So I'm going to make one of my trees is black and white buffalo check, and the other one is red and black buffalo check. You'll also need some of the little wood beads, farmhouse beads. You can get those at Hobby Lobby if you want to make the garland. Of course, it's totally up to you how you want to decorate your tree in the end. You can add some of the Dollar Tree battery operated, the mini LED lights. I didn't care for that on my tree. I just wanted to keep it simple, so that's why I did the garland. The other things you need to have on hand are some Elmer's glue or tacky glue. I used Elmer's glue. I preferred it over the tacky glue for this project, but either one should work. A hot glue gun, a pen, some scissors, wire cutters or needle nose pliers. I actually had both on hand. Green paint and a paintbrush. First, you're going to unwrap the foam cone and paint the entire thing except for the bigger bottom end. You're going to paint that green with your green paint and then allow it to completely dry. I do this first because by the time I get everything else done and ready, my cone is already dry and ready to be assembled. Carefully remove the hanger and your bell pieces from one of the star ornaments. I just chose the silver one for my black and white buffalo check. It just looked better. I was going to save the white one for my red and black one. It just looked better with the red and black. So you want to carefully do that with some needle nose pliers or scissors. You can wiggle it back and forth until it breaks off. Just be careful, you don't want to break your whole star. So you just carefully do this. So you're going to measure out a piece of your fabric. I measured out about 11 by 11 inch square fabric, and then I unwrapped my foam circles, took one of the foam circles and used that to cut out my fabric for my foam circle. So you want to trace two circles on the back side of whatever fabric you're using, and make sure that when you're tracing it, you leave enough gap in between because we're going to have a little bit of overhang. So we're going to add like about 1/4 of an inch all the way around the outside of the circle once you trace it, so that when we go to glue it, it'll come down over the edges and onto the sides of the foam circles. So cut your circles out, leaving, like I said, an extra 1/4 inch outside the drawn circle. That's what for the overhang, and it helps make a nice neat edge when we go to put the ribbon around the side of it. Now, using the larger bottom end of your foam cone, you're going to trace in the center of only one of the circle pieces that you cut out from the fabric. And then you're going to cut that trace circle out. So you have like a donut. With Elmer's glue, we're going to attach our fabric to our foam round piece. So we'll do the first piece, which has the donut center cut out of it. You want to center that over your circle. Lay enough glue down on your foam, not your fabric, but on your foam, that when you put your fabric on, it will smooth out, it's kind of smush out to the edges of your fabric, because you're going to spread everything out, and you're going to try to come down neatly over the edges of the foam circle with the edges of your fabric. So as you can see in the third picture here on the right, it'll come up over the side edge of the circle, so it'll make a nice even edge for us when we go to put our ribbon around it. Once you get the first donut hole glued to your foam circle, flip it over and do the whole piece and get that centered on, and do the same by smoothing it out and then coming over the edges as well. So you're attaching both of your fabric pieces to your foam circle now. Next step, we're going to take the burlap ribbon. I liked the wider one. If you want to use a narrower burlap ribbon, that's up to you. But I like the wider one. It made a nice, tight, firm edge, and it was nice and thick, and I just really liked it. It covered up the fabric so you couldn't see the fabric through the ribbon. What we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece that fits around the circumference of the foam circle. And then that will give us room to manipulate as we glue that ribbon down to the side of the foam circle. We want to have even a little extra on the end so we can cut and trim and make it a nice straight edge on both sides of the ribbon. So when they come together, it'll really look nice. So with your burlap ribbon, you're going to fold 1/3 of the way down and press for the entire length. And then you're going to fold the other edge up over that folded third edge. And so what you're doing is you're folding it into thirds. And so that one edge will fold up over, make a nice edge on the bottom, and it gives a very sturdy piece of burlap to go around the edge of the circle. So then we're going to take one edge of that ribbon and glue it to the side of the foam circle. Trim it at this point, trim that first edge nice and straight, glue it down nice, and then run your glue around, all the way around. And I just used my Elmer's glue for this. It worked great. It kind of bled through the little webbing of the ribbon so that it kind of really actually helped to adhere it to the side of the circle. So run that all the way around the edge to meet up to the back edge, then trim again the end and have it match up really nicely to the other trimmed edge, and then secure it down with your glue. Then what we'll do is we'll take some jute and we'll wrap it around the circle edge, and then we'll tie it in the bow in the front, and take your hot glue gun and just put a daub of glue to secure the bow. And then you're wanting to pull that string tight around the edge, not too tight, but tight enough to where it's not going to move, because you only want to tack it down where the bow is and maybe in the back where the seam is. You don't want glue running the whole length of that. That if you do that, it's enough to hold that string on there. So take that pack of wired garland ties and cut some 2 and 3 inch pieces for your bottom row of your tree. We're going to mark the tree off into thirds. So the bottom row is a third way up that green cone that you just painted. So fold one end of the garland branch and just push it into the cone. And just do that all the way around, but you want to alternate a 2 inch piece and a 3 inch piece and a 2 inch piece all the way around so that it gives it some depth and it's not all the same. You don't want your tree to have branches that all are the same. So you want to alternate those. And poking it in to the foam cone worked great for me, but if you want to, you can always add some glue on the end of that branch so it'll stay in there. That's up to you, totally up to you. I'm one that likes to recycle things. So I may take this apart and do something else with it totally and use those pieces for something else. So I don't really want to permanently put those in there. So anyway, that's totally up to you. But I just pushed it through the foam, and it held just fine. Then we're going to go up another third of the way to do the second row. And you're going to make these pieces just a bit shorter than the ones you made before, just a tad bit. Then you're going to go up to the next row for the top, and you're going to do the third row. So you're going to make the third row even shorter than the second row. And also continue to do the one piece shorter than the other as you rotate and alternate them all the way around on your rows. Really helps to make the tree look more realistic. And then we're going to stick a couple of short little pieces into the tip of the cone. This will be your tree top and it'll help hold your star on as well. Use pliers to bend any of the sharp edges from cutting your garland. And then trim your branches off as desired, because you may need to do that. They did get a little long for me, but I'd rather have them long and have to trim them than have them too short and then I'm stuck. So we'll take the hot glue gun and we'll hot glue the bottom of the cone area to the open area on the covered circle foam. I left that circle area open because it will give a better surface to adhere the cone and the foam together. And hot gluing did the trick for this. So then you want to hot glue the star ornament on the top of the tree securely. You can leave your tree as is, or you can add the Dollar Tree mini lights as I mentioned before, or you can just bejewel it. You can anything. You can do anything. You can even switch out the fabric, do something else there. I just wanted to do a simple garland. So to make my farmhouse mini garland, I used some small wood beads, some jute, and some narrow buffalo check ribbon. And once you finish, you can drape this garland all around the tree for the perfect amount of farmhouse tree decoration. To make this garland, I just made knots, added a bead, made knot again. I had to do a couple of knots. The Dollar Tree jute is kind of thin and it would pull through, the bead would move around and I didn't want it to do that. So I made 2 knots on each end of the bead. Then I tied a small little tiny ribbon in the middle of my beads, so I spaced them out. And then once the ribbon was tied, I would trim it down to the size that I wanted. And I just made it long enough to go completely around the tree a couple of times. It really was easy. And there's your finished tree. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love for you to follow me on Instagram and Pinterest. I am going to be doing a lot of Christmas decoration ideas coming up here in the next month or so. So please follow me. Again, this is Laurie at Laurie Art Creations. Thank you and have a great day.